guys, just enjoying my new freshly welded exhaust pipe. Yes, it's an exhaust video. We're finally getting back to it. I'm pretty sure I have black shit all over my face now as well. Stay tuned, this should be an exciting episode. I'm going to go give you the lowdown on everything that I've learned, mistakes I've made, everything to hopefully try and get this exhaust, the other two parts of the exhaust welded together and back on the bike. So stay tuned, it should be a good one. What's happening, guys? The eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will have noticed I've had a costume change. That's probably because this is the second time I've recorded this video. The first time my microphone decided to shit the bed, technical term, and for whatever reason it was having horrible feedback. So, take two. So, back to the exhaust build. This has been a bit of an ongoing saga, this exhaust. It's something I wanted to do from the outset. When I was planning this bike build, I said, right, I want an unusual exhaust. I want a 3x3 system. I want them varying lengths. I want an unusual note. I want to overcome the challenge with exhaust back pressure and all that kind of bollocks that exists. So I set myself quite a lofty goal of, like, let's build my own exhaust from scratch, and that involved me. There's other videos, you can see the links to them here, hopefully. But the videos show my experience as a complete beginner with this kind of thing, going through the motions of buying a metal cutting bandsaw, working with pie cutting bits of tubing, and then just generally working with the exhaust and trying to get the shape I want and developing the exhaust. So there's a two-part series you can kind of have a look on. This is the third installment of that. Third installment being welding the thing together. So after I tacked the exhaust together, I put it to one side. Not really, well, I kind of realised my welding skills weren't good enough to the standard that I wanted, knowing that an exhaust is a really visual thing, especially on a bike. So if the welds are complete dog shit, then they'll stick out like a sore thumb, and I didn't really want to have that. And yes, I'm not a time-served pipe welder of 20 years who's going to have amazing, perfect welds and perfect tacks to back all that up. I'm not that guy. I'm giving you a raw, honest overview of me, some hairy, angry dude in Scotland, up in Aberdeen, building an exhaust to show how or how not it's deemed a success or not. So I did realise that my exhaust skills my welding skills weren't going to be good enough for my own confidence in building this exhaust. So set that to aside, made a few other things, built a welding table, there's a wee link for that, built a shop stool, there's another little link for that, and then built some quite lofty goals. I made a fire pit that revolved a lot around welding, tubing, notching, everything else. So good little projects, but that's kind of kept me busy over the summer. But I thought there was no time like the present. I had some time off work, time to get this exhaust welded together. So yes, this exhaust has been a bit of a mission. Most difficult thing I've had to deal with is getting the settings right. There's lots of variables for welding. How fast you move the torch, what filler rod you use, what size of electrode you use, what amperage you use, everything else. And it can be quite complex. So I luckily had my box of scraps from miscuts from the exhaust. That when I was making it, I had some left over, which was quite fortunate. So what I did was start to use these scraps to dial in my settings. And I'm no shame in showing you these. These are awful. These are some of the things that you may not see in a lot of people's pigeon shit ugly welds, that just me burning the shit out of metal. And I didn't run a back purge in this. We'll talk about back purge in a little bit. But this was me trying to dial in my settings and realising that something's not right. I'm completely toasting the metal. The metal should go a nice, I guess, straw colour, and then it goes darker and goes through different shades of the rainbow the more you cook it. So I wasn't getting that at all, and I just felt this isn't working. So butterfingers. So reached out to some of my followers on Instagram, some really helpful dudes, Danner's Automotive and Cobra Builder, Darren, both dudes, brilliant help. Dan had built an exhaust similar to me and came back with some good settings, and Darren it was also really helpful. He's a fabricator by day and builds really shit hot E-types. I'll put a link in the description for both those guys' profiles on Instagram. You can check them out. Built some amazing things worth having a look at, but they were really helpful. They came back with some information as to things that may help you. So the metal's thin. It's like, I think it's either 1.6 or 2 mil thick, and it's stainless doesn't need as much heat as mild steel, for instance. And Darren with Cobra Builder was very aware that I was probably going to struggle with it unless I could get things right. So started to have a look at a few different things that would help make this thing a little bit easier. So let's go have a little chat about what those things are and give you more of an idea as to how this can maybe help you. So one of the things that I made an investment of earlier on in the year, after speaking to Man Cave Makings and having a shot of his welding setup, was replacing the unwieldy turd that is the Artec's own TIG torch. I think we can see it here. Sorry. This thing that comes with it is a button control, and it's just a big heavy turd of a thing. So I upgraded to a CK9 torch. I've gone the whole bifter and went with a Furic lens. I spent a lot of money on this because a bad workman always blames his tools, and I didn't want to have bad tools, so there's no excuse for me being shit with this. So I bought this CK9 torch, cable, foot pedal, Artec foot pedal, gas lens, wide Furic cup. But one of the things that Darren was telling me about was the importance of, let's just turn this off because it's going to make loads of noise. One of the things Darren was telling me about was the importance of using a smaller diameter tungsten. So I had been using a 2.4 just because that's what come with the with everything. I'd bought everything for a 2.4, and the advice I got given was to go down a size to 1.6 mil. Go down 1.6 mil tungsten, go down to 1 mil filler, even smaller if you can, because we're dealing with quite thin stuff here. So I did that. I made the investment again, further still, knowing if someone tells you, someone does it for a living and they're giving you advice, and probably best to adhere to that advice. So I listened to Darren and went and made the investment to get some smaller 1.6 mil. Anyone who's thinking about buying a TIG welder, yes, it's fine. What comes is from the factory is fine. These upgrades are a big help to me. I found like the foot pedal was one of the biggest revelations I had. This torch is really nice. It allows you to just get in nice and close. It's got a flexi head. You can do loads of stuff with it. But I find once you buy everything for a 2.4 mil, and then you need to change about 1.6 mil, I think I spent another 70 odd quid on just bits, fucking bits. Capital investment. I bitched about this on Instagram, but I built this bike for £1,000. I don't think I've got much change about £1,000 in this welder, but that's another story. So then changed that. That was ideal. So 1.6 mil tungsten, a lot thinner. I find I was getting a huge amount of benefit from using that. Just way more control. Obviously the amps have a huge part to play that, especially when you control it with the foot pedal. So initially I was struggling. Let's put this to one side. Where I was struggling was that I just felt I wasn't getting. It looks horrendous. Like I know it's horrendous. I'm sharing. I was struggling to get the settings dialed in. Felt it was too much heat going through it. By using filler, it was just blobbing up, and it just wasn't working for me. So the guys Darren and Dan both told me, look, just try a pulse setting. I'd never tried a pulse setting before in my welder, so that's what we ended up doing. So let's have a quick look at a pulse setting. I would show you this on my welder, but it's so bloody loud. But pulse setting pretty much means I am pulsing between a low and a high amperage to minimize the amount of heat that's going in, and this pulse happens over a range of whatever frequency you desire that pulse to happen at. So for me, optimum pulse settings were, and this is what I've set going forward for welding the rest of this exhaust, and I'm quite comfortable with this, is a max of 70 amps, a minimum of 25% of that 70 amps, which is 17.5, and then I am pulsing over a 1 second period. I've got it set at 3 pulses per second, so it's like so that's going I'm not doing that bit again. The pulse has helped me quite a lot. So by going, instead of going with a more conventional, if we look at this down here, the way you do it with the foot controller is you go up to maybe not as high, you maybe only go up to 50 amps, but if you've got a foot controller you can bring that down, you can bring it down, back up, and you can kind of manually pulse it. But this area here tends to be a bit higher than you would get area under here, meaning you're less likely to cook the shit out of the metal, is pretty much what I'm trying to say. Fucking press record, it would make a fucking hit. So that was a fuck. The pulse settings made the biggest difference for me, I think. And maybe you get welder aficionados that go, she didn't need a pulse setting, that's any welder should be able to fuck off, whatever, I don't care. I managed to get welds that looked decent in my standard, and I felt comfortable enough I could weld it, so pulse setting helped me. Something else that helped me quite a bit is using the metal cutting bandsaw. I was able to get a really nice fit up of the parts. You can see there, that's pretty damn good. By having a really good fit up, I was able to not run filler wire, which was probably pretty helpful as well. It meant I was able to get into a nice position and not worry about what my other hand was doing. It meant I was able to really support the bit and start getting after what I needed to weld rather than being concerned about putting filler wire in. And that's because I had such a good fit up. So what does that mean? Well, I was able to start getting some semi-decent welds for someone that's a bit of a noob, which I'm pretty damn happy with, and you'll see that in this montage, which we will load shortly. But that in itself, yeah, that was a big help. Pulse settings and running all the welds autogenously. Yes, I still use filler if it needs to have filler. If it doesn't need filler, don't put filler in it. We're not doing a 6G welding test, we're not welding a 10,000 psi pipeline, we're welding an exhaust that takes away exhaust gases from an engine. It's not, yes, you want to have structural soundness and everything else, but it's not got to pass any stringent, whatever the hell you want to call it. So what's this funny little tube, this funny little pipe that's sticking in my exhaust? This is the reason I have no money left this month. Back purge. Back purge, back purge, back purge. So, if you look inside this, you may or may not be able to see sugaring, which happens when you weld stainless in the absence of a shielding gas on the inside of the pipe. And that pretty much means you maybe get a weaker weld, it's faster to corrode, maybe fatigue's a bit easier because you've got just a weaker weld. So sugaring's not good. There's other ways around sugaring. You can use, I think it's called superflux, which you put on, and it just stops that chemical reaction happening, or protects the stainless so that when it oxidizes it doesn't suddenly go sugary and build up a big load of crap inside your exhaust pipe. Sorry you can't really see that, but it is gnarly, it's not very nice. So I have ran a purge setup, which pretty much means my welding gas gets eaten at a rate of 10,000 litres per second, and it costs me £1.5 million to build an exhaust, it goes through gas really quickly. I've just upgraded to a big beefy 20 litre bottle, you can maybe see in the background, but a 10 litre bottle didn't last very long. 25 quid a pop, 110 quid for initial rental. It starts adding up quite a bit. So, but purge setup pretty much means run a second feed off your argon tank into your exhaust pipe, block the end. There's plenty of good stuff on this on YouTube, but essentially you want to run a back purge for stainless just to stop any sugaring happening on the inside, or by superflux. I think I'm a bit late to be trying to find a brush long enough to coat the inside of this, so I'm stuck with back purge. Back purge is fine. I've noticed that the weld actually reacts a lot better with a back purge than trying to do it this way, so maybe anyone doing this, if you're looking to do practice runs, maybe just suck up the cost of running back purge and practice under the exact conditions that you're going to be welding in, rather than me who's just kind of it'll be fine, let's look at this, let's ruin some of this pipe. Ruin it I did. When a weld runs away from you, you've got two options. You can either stop, reassess, or you can get really mad and you just start using your welding torch as some kind of gas axe and just see how much you can cut before you get really pissed off, or it's too hot to hold and you throw it across the other side of the garage. May or may not have happened this way. So three things. Back purge, helpful, you need it. Pulsing really helped. Autogenous welding really helped. And then once I got these things sorted, I was able to really get into the flow of it, and I knocked out one of my exhausts pretty quickly. In fact, I've got a little montage. I've been writing some heavy metal music as well. I'm using these videos as an excuse to just play my guitars and my drums again. So sorry if you don't like it. I like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enjoy the montage. So I'm now at a stage where me and Mr. Pipe have to get acquainted with the welder again. I bought more welding gas yesterday. I really want this exhaust done. I want it off my table. it's not finished yet. Actually, we'll quickly have a look at the bike and see why it's not finished. So the exhaust comes out. I've mocked up. The first one here is all welded. Oh god, that autofocus is unbearable. I've mocked up the first exhaust. The second exhaust needs to... The annoying thing with the second exhaust is this last bit of pipe, if you can see it, should in theory come out at a little bit more of an angle. So I need to cut that off or break it off and recut this and weld it on. However, this exhaust also needs to be mounted to the frame. So I've got a few ideas up my sleeve to allow me to help me with that. I'm not going to get it done for this video. In fact, this video is probably not going to be much longer than what we're already speaking about. My plan is to go and get the rest of the exhaust finished so that when we next speak, in the next video, we turn this over again and then we wake up the entire neighbourhood with how loud this is going to be. Yes, there's other things I need to think about, silencing the exhaust and all that other, and tuning the exhaust. Yes, 3 different lengths, probably need tuned slightly differently, but got that plan up my sleeve. So, yes, I need to do a little bit of work, just make sure these are nice. I make sure that these follow a line that I want them to follow, whether I want them to be all equal or I want them to follow the frame a little bit. There's obviously going to be a third one here that I have 3 into 3. I think I will probably have it like this. Bear with me. One like that, and then one further up. All equally spaced. Because this is slightly long, it looks like it's doesn't look as good, but we'll figure that out. We'll make sure it doesn't look shit by the time it gets mounted on the bike. I'm quite buzzing about this. The seat's behind me somewhere. There we go. I'm quite buzzing about this. I don't know if I'm going to go and get this exhaust finished, so in the next video we can hear it. I just want to share some stuff that I've learned. Pulse, autogenous welding. I'm quite chuffed with how it looks. So we're going to wrap that video up now. If you liked it, disliked it, whatever, have any comments, tell me it's shit. Plenty of people do it already. I'll fight you. I won't really. Maybe I will. I don't know. If you have any comments, anything, if you tried this yourself, let me know. Send me some pictures, whatever. It's always good to hear how these projects going. Until next time, take it easy guys, and we shall be building. I'm not going to have a catchphrase yet. See you later guys.